Welcome to 100 Days in a Desert-Only World. Now, long ago, even before doing my ocean-only world, I actually started recording 100 Days in a Desert World, but then my footage got corrupted and I scrapped the entire idea and made the ocean world. But now we're here, back on a desert world. The desert world is definitely a hard challenge. You don't have easy access to things like trees or passive mobs. It definitely takes some good skill to survive in. So I'm going to see if I got what it takes to survive 100 days in a desert-only world. And I actually did have a lot of fun with this video, and I hope you guys do too. So if you guys do enjoy this video, make sure you guys join the sub club. We actually just dropped a 1 mil sub club merch, so go check that out if you guys haven't seen it already. It's pretty fire, actually. Make sure you guys smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and let's get into the video. Day 1. Luckily, when spawning in, there was a village nearby. Since playing on a desert-only world is kind of like playing on a super flat world, but you know, without all the annoying slimes. So I made my way over to the village. I was hoping that maybe this village would have something good, like a blacksmith, but nope, it doesn't. But luckily, it did have some crafting tables, which is great because I'm not going to be getting any wood anytime soon. Not only that, but there was also some grass, which is definitely going to come in handy later in this series. Day 2, I started off by slapping the iron golem and then repeatedly punching him in the forehead so I could get all that iron. And with that iron, I was able to make an iron pick, and now I can finally go mining. And so now I'll finally have all the materials I'll need to be able to make some tools. Day 3, finally time to stop freeloading off all these villagers. I'll go on my way. Well, that is after I take a couple more hay bales. But not too long into this journey, I managed to find my first desert temple. So I jumped right in, even though the front door was open. But the chest luckily did have some decent loot, like a looting 3 book and a bunch of saddles, which I don't know what I'm going to do with the saddles. I don't think that there's horses in this world. But after that, I managed to find a new village with some small lakes nearby. I didn't think I'd be finding any lakes in this world, and honestly, it's a little bit refreshing seeing it. So I'm definitely going to call this place my home. Day 4, I began terraforming a nice big flat area. I'd like to be able to build my new home on it. I feel like since I'm in the desert world, it's definitely fitting that I'd be able to live in a desert temple, but I already did that in my 100 Void Day world. So this time, I'm going to build a giant custom desert temple. Day 5, I'm already getting tired of shoveling all this sand, so I decided to go on a bit of an adventure. Go check out a desert temple nearby, but that's when I actually found a raid tower. Now that's going to come in super clutch with some wood in this world. But first, I jumped on down in the desert temple, and this thing's actually pretty good. I had my first notch apple in this world and 2 diamonds. We're already starting off pretty strong. Afterwards, I made my way over to the raid tower, but I had to make sure I swerved everybody, because last thing I want to do is bring home a bad omen. A village would hate me for that, just like how these pillagers are hating me right now for tearing apart their base. Day 6, I'm back at home. I'm trying to finish up with clearing out the area for the desert mansion. Luckily, I was getting a decent bit of sand out of this because this is going to also take a lot of sand to build. After clearing out the area, I began outlining the shape of the house, but that's when I realized that village houses actually have a much better, smoother looking sandstone, which I like a lot more, but I discovered that you have to get it from cooking the sand. So on day 7, I'm going cave diving. I'm going to need a whole lot of coal and cobblestone for furnaces. But like always when cave diving, it gets a little bit dangerous and the mobs just kind of want you to leave their home. So like any normal person, I just continued further, and I actually found a mine shaft. Now this is going to come in clutch whenever I need wood, since it's right underneath the base. And I ran around it for a little bit hoping to find a spider spawner, but didn't have any luck, so I went home. Day 8, I got all my new furnaces set up, and I've pretty much just spent the entire day shoveling my life away, because I'm going to need so much sand for this house. Days 9 through 15, I began construction on the house. The house. This big beast is going to take way more materials and a lot more time than I thought it was going to. It may have been a mistake to use smooth sandstone, but oh well, I think it looks pretty good. I threw everything I had at it, including my keyboard, but it was still far from done. Days 16 to 17, it's time to take a break from homesteading, and maybe I should go out and live a little. I figured I'd go scavenge any sort of desert pyramids and villages that I found. And what are the odds? That's exactly what I found. And this desert pyramid actually has a mending book inside of it. Afterwards, I decided to go head over to a village nearby. That's when I realized I should just honestly start stealing all the food from every village. Like, come on, I mean, what are they going to use it for? But after that village, I really couldn't find anything. For a while, actually, it was just a barren wasteland. I'm just kidding, I managed to find another village. And this one actually has sheep in it. It actually reminds me that there were sheep in the spawn village, and I should bring them home. And so that's exactly what I did on day 18. I made my way over to the spawn village so I can free these sheep of their tortured lives, but I also managed to lure a villager in the process. I don't want to be your friend. Anyways, it was a super long journey all the way back home, but it was definitely worth freeing these sheep because now they're mine and I'm caging them in at home. Day 19 to 20, I figured it's about time I whip up some armor and a fresh brand new diamond sword and jump into the nether. After going through the portal, I got a terrible spawn spawn. I was literally 110 blocks up in the ceiling, but luckily I was able to see a fortress not too far away. It's just gonna take forever to mine all the way down there. I mean, seriously, it was a really long journey to get through this wall, but it was definitely worth it because now I got some quick access to a fortress, which means I could get some blaze rods, and that's exactly what I was doing. I just went to go slay a bunch of blaze, and after getting what I came for, it was time to go home. Day 21. I decided to take a break from all this adventuring and maybe do some chill farming, but to do farming I was gonna need all that dirt, and the only way to get dirt in this world is if I go down any caves and hopefully find some, which luckily I did. So I began shoveling my life away like I have been this entire series already, but I did manage to get a lot of dirt. But what I don't have a lot of is actually crops. So after setting up my farm, I just put down the only carrots I had, and I mean, it's a work in progress. It'll grow over time. But on day 22, I had a pretty small brain moment, so don't laugh at me. I thought that maybe I could be able to stretch out tons of dirt all the way from spawn village all the way to my house and maybe get that grass to spread. I know I literally thought that maybe I could be able to do this. It's going to take forever, but you know, I'll eventually get the grass. But after placing down all my dirt, I realized that I could actually just get silk touch. Yeah, I know. Like I said, it was a small brain moment, all right? And so now I wasted pretty much just an entire day doing nothing. But if I wanted to get silk touch, I was going to need an enchantment table, which means I was going to need to be able to get books, and that means I also need leather. But that's what I remembered, actually, that if I get enough rabbit hides, I could be able to turn 4 of them into a leather. So I thought it'd be a great idea to run around in the desert trying to hunt down rabbits. But unfortunately, rabbits don't always drop their hides, and they're extremely difficult to hunt down with a sword. So I used up pretty much all my arrows on them, and I only managed to get 4 hides, which made 1 leather, and that's when I decided to give up. So on day 24 to 26, I decided to take a different approach. I remembered that I had that looting 3 book, so I figured that maybe I just put that on a sword and then I'll go into the nether and slay some hoglins. But I was gonna need an anvil, and to get an anvil I was gonna need iron, and I'm way too lazy to farm it, so I decided to make an auto farm for it. I've built this auto farm a couple times in the past on the 100-day world. Honestly, it's just super easy to build. It's nice, convenient. I mean, other than the fact that you gotta get villagers up there and they're just super difficult and it takes days to be able to get them up there, and I hate them so much. But after you get them inside the farm, it's easy peasy, and you just give them some bread, they breed up, and then there becomes enough of them, and then iron golems start spawning. I'll have a link down in the description to the tutorial of how to make this farm. So on day 27, while waiting for the last of my villagers to grow up so iron golems could spawn, I figured that I'd just get ahead of the game and start shoveling tons of sand, since I was still going to need a lot of this for the house. And on days 28 to 40, I decided to finally put some big effort into this house. I pretty much finished off the entire exterior of this thing, which I mean, it just took forever because I gotta wait for a lot of sand to smelt. But overall, with all this work put into this thing, I definitely like it. I mean, it's definitely a statement to all the other desert dwellers. But after finishing up with the entire exterior, I figured that maybe I should go grab some of the pretty colored blocks from the other desert temples, so then I could be able to add some of my own custom patterns to this thing. No, make it really feel like mine. And yes, I did put a smiley face and a sad face. Comment down below a smiley face or a sad face. Do you like it? Smiley face. Do you not like it? Sad face. Day 41 to 42. It's about time I clean out that iron golem farm, and dang, we already got a bunch of iron. Now I can be able to whip up that anvil that I've been needing, so then I can add looting 3 onto my diamond sword. And of course, I also put the mending book on it. So now it's time to head into the nether to be able to go fight some hoglins and hopefully get dropped a bunch of leather. But of course, first I gotta get through my nether fortress, which is inside of a soul sand biome, so there's lots of mobs and it's pretty dangerous. But also, I could literally only find soul sand. Soul sand's literally just everywhere, and soul sand is now my life. It isn't until I was able to find a tiny little patch of crimson forest, so I made my way over, and I pretty much just spent the rest of my time just slaying hoglins, trying to get tons of leather. And on day 43, I remembered that I'm going to need a lot of paper, and luckily there's some sugarcane in the village nearby, so I grabbed all the sugarcane and lined it up around the lakes near my house so that it'll look prettier and you know, get some greenery around the place. And I figured while waiting for all of them to grow, I might as well start with a staircase all the way down to a new mine shaft, because if I'm going to be making an enchantment table, I want to be enchanting some diamond gear. And on day 44, we're continuing with the mine shaft, but now we're already all the way down to level 11, so it's pretty easy peasy. I began clearing out a nice big room to be able to vein mine from, and honestly, mining was going great. Wasn't too long until I found my first set of diamonds, and then almost immediately after that, found some more. I feel like we're living on top of a really nice, rich land, because I got even more after that. And by the time I was leaving the place, we already had 28 diamonds. And I started off day 45 by crafting up my new diamond armor. That is until I got snuck up on by 2 creepers. Their little pitter-patter Their footsteps actually scared the crap out of me. But I gave them the hands and went on about my business. After making my new diamond armor, I figured it was about time to harvest the sugar cane. It's looking pretty tall. And now that I got all this sugar cane, I could turn it into paper and make some books. But then I remembered I was going to need some obsidian for an enchantment table. So I ended the day by mining some obsidian. Day 46. It's about time I make that enchantment table. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I used all my diamonds, and apparently you need 2 for an enchantment table, and I thought you needed 1. And I didn't really feel like going back down into the mine shaft, even though it's pretty rich, and honestly, I kind of wish I did. But instead, I decided to go on an adventure. And not too far away from home, I found another village. And I mean, honestly, there was nothing really special at this village other than I got a melon seed. And honestly, the direction I picked was terrible because I was running for a while, and I couldn't find anything. That is until on day 47, finally found a desert pyramid. And luckily, this one actually had some diamonds in it, which is exactly what I needed. So honestly, there's not much else to talk about on this day other than the fact that I ran all the way home. And on day 48, it was about time I finally make that enchantment table. The only problem is I didn't really know where I was going to put it. I haven't really organized the inside of this giant house. I just kind of built it up. So I figured that I was going to put it on the upstairs section. But after crafting up all my bookshelves, I realized that I was still going to need more. I was only able to do up to a level 20 enchantment. But on top of that, I also forgot that I don't have any lapis lazuli, which means I was going to need to go down into the mines. I figured the easiest way to go find lapis is I might as well actually just go down into the mine shaft. And also I'm going to need XP later anyway, so maybe I'm able to find a spider spawner farm. And luckily, not too long after looking around, I actually found some lapis. That was easy peasy. And not too long after that, I actually did manage to find a spider farm. Well, a spider spawner that then I will turn into a farm. So I ended the day by building a staircase all the way up to the surface so then I could be able to easily get to the spider farm. And so on day 49 to 55, yep, this is a decent lengthy project because I was building out that spider spawner farm for XP. This one was just, it was just in such a weird space. I had to mine out tons of blocks, add more blocks in. Spiders kept spawning. It was so frustrating. But this is an easy XP farmer to build out, so I mean, it was definitely worth it in the end. Honestly, it's nothing too special. It's just spider farm. And on day 56, it was about time I give this thing a test. Now, if you guys have been watching me for a while, you guys know I like to do this thing where I AFK for pretty much the entire day. That's so that I'm able to get this giant pile of spiders to be able to clap. I mean, it's just so satisfying. There's so many spiders. Then all the XP just comes flowing in. Ah, it's such a good time. In the end, I managed to get up to level 27. But that's okay because I got to go back into the nether anyways. So I'm able to get more leather for the enchantment table. And so that's exactly what I did. I went into the nether and started slaying a bunch of hoglins. Because at least this way I'll be able to get to level 30 for enchantments, but also be able to get all of the leather that I would need for my enchantment table. So I pretty much just ran around clapping bacon. And on day 58, it's finally time to finish up with all the bookshelves I need. Well, that's after I get rid of the creeper freeloading in my house. Now I can officially do level 30 enchantment. And like I said, I really want to get silk touch so I can be able to silk touch up some grass and bring it home. And I feel like I get silk touch on my shovel most of the time, so never mind. Didn't get silk touch. And on days 59 to 65, I pretty much just spent the entire time just cooking up tons more smooth sandstone because I'm trying to build up some interior walls for my house, but I don't like walls that much. I kept building them up and then tearing them down. I just kind of like an open floor plan, you know? So eventually I just kind of settled with these kind of like pillar shaped things to kind of separate the rooms a little bit, but you can still see right through it. It's a nice, it's got that right feng shui, what I'm looking for. But all in all, I think the pillars add some nice character to this place, as well as the back room where I'm going to have a bunch of other things like storage and armory and such. And on days 66 through 68, I decided to go check out a bastion. I haven't been to one in this world, and we're already on day 66. There's no real reason why I need to go to one of these things right now, other than the fact that I just kind of want to steal their gold. And so that's exactly what I did. It's a housing bastion, so honestly, it was just easy peasy. They didn't even know I was sneaking in there to take it all. Okay, yeah, they smelt me breaking the gold. They weren't happy, but it's not like they could do anything about it. And after taking all their gold, I really expressed dominance by going up to the top and looting all their chests as well. This thing is just full of tons of lava, man. It's just, this thing was trying to kill me the entire time, but it was no issues. I even found a netherite scrap on the inside. Man, bastions have great loot. Day 69 to 73, I finally ran out of wood. Ironic on day 69. So I figured I'd make my way over to the villager outpost to be able to rob them blind and chop down a bunch of logs. But there ended up being crowds of them, so I had to give them the hands. And eventually I said, screw it, why not? Maybe I just do a raid. Kind of sounds fun right now. I haven't done one of those in a while. It was a terrible idea. I decided to take the raid over to a village nearby that's not my hometown village. And honestly, this thing was so long. It reminded me why I don't want to do raids anymore. And all I had was my mind on those totems. Oh gosh, do I want those totems. This ended up being a super long fight with a lot of close calls. But in the end, I kind of determined that, you know, maybe I'm a little bit under geared and maybe I shouldn't be doing this. So after picking up a totem or two, I actually decided to leave. Don't worry, I'll come back to finish the job later. At least I was trying to leave until they were trying to follow me to see where I live. Well, I managed to ditch them in a lake and then just keep going. And on day 74, I decided with all these new levels from that raid that I might as well enchant some more gear. So I enchanted my diamond pickaxe and I actually got silk touch. Now I could finally get grass. And so of course that was the first thing I did. I ran straight back to the spawn village, scooped up all the dirt that I wasted before, and then silk touched up some grass. This is gonna come in so clutch. After getting back home, I was debating how I wanted to go about it. Do I just want to place down a bunch of dirt on top of the sand, or do I want to scoop up a bunch of the sand and just replace it with dirt so then the area is still kind of the same shape? And it kind of ended up doing that. I shoveled up a bunch of sand and created a nice little dirt patch and plopped down my grass block. I can't remember if I have a giant grass area, do like passive mobs like sheep spawn on it or no? I could have sworn they do. Anyways, we'll find that out later. And on days 75 to 76, I just spent the entire time just making chests and organizing and making chests and organizing. I was finally moving into this house and it was just so much work, but it's something I needed. I'm getting tired of working out of the two little chests in the front of the base, so this will definitely help out with my operations in the long run. But actually in the moving process, I got a wandering trader, which like always just doesn't really sell anything that great, but I'm just gonna buy everything that I can't normally get in this world. So I just got a pumpkin, a flower, and some packed ice. And then otherwise I just continued my move. And then on day 77, I actually tamed the wandering trader's llama because I mean, I was hoping that maybe I could be able to ride the llama and then, you know, something to ride on out in this barren desert, but I forgot you can't really control him. You can only put chests on them. However, I did tame him though. And after finding out that he's just completely useless, I just kind of put him in the pen with the sheep. But after that, I did actually notice a bad Omen Banner. It looks like the pillagers are onto me. They're finding out where I live, but it looks like they're dumb and they got stuck in a hole. So I'm not really going to worry about them right now. On day 78, it was chore day. I started off the day by expanding the little dirt plot. Actually really curious to see how big this thing's going to end up getting by the 100 days. After that, I went to go clean out the iron farm and dang, that thing's doing good. And then lastly, I went to go plant some pumpkins and a watermelon. And then I kind of just expanded the farm a little bit with all the carrots. It's just a nice peaceful day for mom. I really needed this. And on day 79 through 80, I figured it's about time that maybe I go clap this dragon. To be able to do that, I was going to need a lot of ender pearls. So I made my way into the nether to go do some trades. Honestly, I don't know why I didn't do this when I was already here. I had to run all the way back down to the bastion, but it was a good thing though, because I actually found a giant pile of piggies and trapped them in and gave them all that cheddar. The trades were coming in hot. I was actually getting a ton of pearls. It was weird. They just respect me as their ruler and they pay me handsomely. And so on days 81 to 84, it's finally time to go find that stronghold. But I wasn't anticipating it to be so far away. It was a very long journey, but it was also a humbling one. I didn't stop at very many structures on the way there. I just wanted to be able to find the stronghold. However, in a village very, very far away from me, I actually did find horses and lots of them. I didn't know this was actually a thing. I didn't know that there was horses inside of these villages. I'm over here just running around in a desert world all alone. Maybe one day I'll come back for them. But for now, I need to find the stronghold, which is actually exposed in a cave. And not long after running through it, I actually found the end portal. And so it was time. I jumped into the portal and begun fighting the dragon. And I mean, surely you guys know that I didn't die to the dragon. I mean, I did survive 100 days after all. So after the ender dragon fight, I aimed for what my real prize was, the elytra. Now, luckily this time I wasn't stuck in the outer ends for as long as I was in the ocean world. In the ocean world, I was, oh gosh, I could not find an end city forever. Luckily, the first end city I did find though, did have an end ship. The only problem was is that I was kind of floating up above the void and that's a little scary, but I did survive nonetheless. So I boarded that ship, I clapped those shulkers, and I stole my elytra. And of course I looted the chest. There was some decent loot in there. And then not long after flying around, it was finally time to go home. And the home portal was actually next to another end city. How funny is that, huh? And on days 88 through 90, I started off the day by crafting up a shulker box. This is definitely going to come in handy. So I actually decided that since we're coming pretty close to finishing up with this 100 days, I actually want to go shovel an insane amount of dirt. I know it sounds a little random. That's because I want to expand out on these grass fields. So I just spent an insane amount of time just shoveling tons of dirt. And on days 91 to 93, I spent the entire time just trying to negotiate with villagers, trying to get a mending book, but for some reason they just would not give me one. I was literally trading with these guys forever, breaking down the lectern, putting it back, and just no matter what, I could not get it. So I ended up settling with infinity, which is definitely going to help out because I want to finish the raid. And so before adding the infinity book, book, I decided to enchant a bow, and it just got Unbreaking 3. So I decided to enchant another one, and that time I got power. So I put them together and then added the infinity book, and then boom, we got a good bow. And after that, I figured that I might as well use the rest of the levels I got from the dragon to enchant the rest of my gear. So I would be prepared for this raid. And so on day 94, I returned to Raid Village. It definitely seemed like there were some villagers that were locked up inside of houses or something, because the raid was still going on for some reason. And there's no way that any sort of villager would be outrunning them for that many days. So this was a good thing. That meant that it would be actually really hard for me to lose this raid, or so I thought, because the next wave kind of just came in and slapped the last villager. Yeah, big yikes. My assumption it was probably the annoying Vex that just go through the walls, because those, oh gosh, I hate the Vexes. I ended up getting defeated on this raid. They just waved their hands and chanted. So after removing the last of them, I actually had a lot of totem. That reminded me that I actually really want to make a totem farm. And just to express dominance on the fact that they think that they're better than me for winning that raid, I'm definitely going to do that. So on days 95 to 100, I spent the remaining of the days working on this farm. But right before doing that, actually a new wandering trader showed up, and he actually sells oak saplings. So now we're going to finally have trees. This world just keeps getting better and better. Okay, now that we're done with that though, we got to prepare for this farm. I filled up a shulker box with a bunch of the essentials for it. The only thing I really needed was to go into the nether to go get some crimson wood, because I was going to need some fireproof wood. And after that, I just needed to pick my prime location and begin the farm building. I wanted it close enough to the raid tower so that I could be able to go get Bad Omen pretty easily. I only built this farm once before on my OG hardcore world, and honestly, I love it. This thing's amazing. It's pretty easy to set up. Honestly, the hardest part about it is just coaxing one villager to live inside the bubble. But when you promise good work and a stable economy like I do, anyone will buy into what you're selling. And so after trapping that villager in there, it was easy peasy. I began my first raid. I had minor problems with the farmer. Nothing too major. I was able to solve them pretty easily. But now I don't even have to worry about doing any sort of raids. I just have so many totems. Now that that raid is over though, that's gonna be it for this 100 days, guys. Make sure to drop a like on this video if you guys want to see more Desert World. I actually really do like this world. I have a lot of fun on it. So let me know. Drop a like on the video. Make sure to subscribe if you guys haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one.